went to bleeding LEICESTER on the 9th of June 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went to Lancolin Street, that's on the road to bleeding.
You're watching TOON Army TV. Welcome to the channel. This is the Arsenal versus Newcastle United match preview down at the Emirates Stadium. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff live on the TV in the Premier League. Just before I jump into the match preview, if I could ask you kindly to please subscribe to the channel. It's free and I really want to get to 3,600 subscribers. I want to say a massive thank you to all of my supporters. To those who have subscribed in recent weeks and recent months, we've now reached 3,500 subscribers. I knew you could do it and I am really grateful. And if you could continue to keep smashing that subscribe button, we will get to where I want to be. And we're less than 70 subscribers away now, so I know it is possible. Hit the like button and also turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video from myself. And if you want to get interactive, please do down below in the comment section your build up to the game, your starting 11 and your score predictions. So let's jump straight into the preview against Arsenal. Man, I'm not looking forward to this game on Monday. I really am not. Steve Bruce, still the manager. Who gives Steve Bruce a job? Look at the form, man. Look at where we are in the league. Yes, we're maybe 15th. We're maybe 7 points clear of Fulham. But if Mike Ashley thinks by backing Steve Bruce that we're 7 points clear of Fulham, that's good. That's not. That is relegation form. If Mike Ashley does not think that Newcastle United are in a relegation battle, then he's very foolish and very naive. Because Fulham are showing more fight. They're showing more balls. They're showing more passion. Nothing that Newcastle United are showing on that field. We do not look like winning a game. We really don't. And that's not over the top. You look at Steve Bruce's press conferences, man. I mean, they're just getting worse and worse and worse by the week. The one against Sheffield United, he ought to be embarrassed. He really should be. Oh, the penalty changed the game. No, it didn't. We lost to Sheffield United, mate. Sheffield United. Bottom of the Premier League. The worst club in Europe in terms of form. They haven't won a game all season. 2 points to their name. They don't look like scoring goals. But then Newcastle United make them look like Barcelona, Real Madrid, whatever you want to call that performance on Tuesday. We made them look amazing. Sheffield United are shite. Awful. They'll not have had an easier game all season. Who sets up 5 at the back against Sheffield United? Who does that? Of course, the dinosaur and Steve Bruce. And somehow Mike Ashley is giving him the vote of confidence. Have you seen the stats? Have you seen the stats? Well, of course he hasn't, because he's not a footballing guy, is he? Him and his puppet Lee Charnley and Penfold and a lot of them. Honestly, they're all as bad as each other. Stinks, man. Stinks in negativity, this football club. I'm fuming. The game that we had to win. This was the biggest game of Steve Bruce's managerial career, but somehow the board don't see that. And they're giving him more games. If you've read the Keith Downey tweet, I'll put up on screen for you. And according to him, and from the sources that he's got from Mike Ashley's camp, they're going to keep him on. Why? I wouldn't give Steve Bruce any more time. I really wouldn't. It's going to get even more toxic and it's going to get even more personal with fans towards Steve Bruce. If Steve Bruce proclaims that he's a Geordie, walk away. Simply walk away and tell the board you're not good enough to give this club the best chance of progressing and getting up the league table and to try and resurrect a takeover, because right now there's only one way we're going and that's down. We're going down. It's as simple as that. And I haven't moved on from the Sheffield United game. Why should I? It's embarrassing. It really is. Fair play to Sheffield United. If there's any fans watching, you deserve to win. The fact that he's using the excuse of, well, Sheffield United, you know, they got a penalty which wasn't. I'm sorry to say it was a 50-50 call. I was like, just give him it. We're awful anyway. We look awful with 11 men, let alone 10. And then to give him the vote of confidence. How can you give Steve Bruce the vote of confidence on this current form? We haven't won in 8 games in all competitions. That's a sackable offence. And if he's feeling like giving him the next 4 games between now and the end of the month, I'm sorry to say, where are we getting the wins from? We don't even look like stringing 2 passes together, let alone scoring goals and winning games. We can't even do the basics, man. We're playing this dinosaur 5 at the back, which you could call maybe, 8 or 9 at the back. I can't see it. I really can't. I mean, I'm looking at the next 4 games. Arsenal, we're not going to beat them. It's as simple as that. And then we've got Aston Villa away. They're doing well. We're not going to get out there. And then we've got Leeds United, who absolutely spanked her 5-2. Could have been more. We're going to get out at home against them. And then we've got Everton, who, yes, will beat their second string. But that was their second string. If Steve Bruce continues to play 5 at the back, I'm sorry to say, but we're not winning any more games. Callum Wilson, the poor lad's isolated. And then you've got, Carl Darlow making the saves. But anyway, let's move on from it, because I'm sure there's Arsenal fans watching this. So, what I tend to do in these previews, I compare both sides. So we'll look at the Premier League table. So for Newcastle, we are currently 15th on 19 points. We're 7 points clear of Fulham after Fulham got a well-deserved 1-1 draw against Tottenham Hotspur. And Fulham are closing the gap in on Newcastle United. And Burnley, over the weekend, could overtake us on goal difference as well, because they do play either on the Saturday or Sunday, I'm not too sure. Then you look at Arsenal, they're currently 11th in the Premier League. They've got 24 points. They have picked up in recent weeks. If you look at Arsenal, 11th place, for their standards, that's not acceptable. That's not a good season for them. And they want to be looking to try and get the win on Monday night to try and get into that top 10 and push on for the European spots, but they look way off that at this moment in time. I look at the last games for both Newcastle and Arsenal. So for Newcastle lost 1-0 to Sheffield United, and rightly so. That scoreline flatters me because Sheffield United were by far the better side. Yes, the football by Sheffield United wasn't great, but they just found a way through our back 5 because we're just set up to be all negative to lose the game. The game was lost from the very get-go before a ball was even kicked. And he was playing players like Sean Longstaff and Jeff Hendrick, who for me are not good enough for Premier League level. I'm sorry, they're not. Sheffield United finally took the lead in the second half. Penalty or not, they put it in and they scored it. And Newcastle barely threatened, so it's a justified scoreline. As for Arsenal, they drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace. I wouldn't say that's a good scoreline for Crystal Palace or Arsenal. Both of them would have been looking for the 3 points, especially Arsenal. When you're at home against a mid-table club. But then again, maybe I'm doing Crystal Palace a bit of injustice because Arsenal are mid-table. You're thinking for Arsenal, it's just very poor, isn't it? Normally, Arsenal would dispatch clubs like Crystal Palace, but the way their season's been, nothing is a given. And that could give Newcastle some confidence that they could go down to the Emirates and get something. If you look back at the FA Cup game, Newcastle actually drew 0-0 if that had been a Premier League game before it went extra time. So looking at the injuries and suspensions for both Newcastle and Arsenal. So ASM looks like he's no any better to getting into the starting 11. How we're going to miss him. He's such an important character to our side in terms of bringing some pace and some trickery, some skill. Just getting with forward. The service to Callum Wilson's been lacking, and you can see with ASM not being in the side, we have massively struggled. I believe he's still waiting on the club doctor and the green light to then start training. As I speak, he could be in training, but we'll wait and see in the couple of days. Jamal Lewis seems that he's no any quicker to getting back into the side. Listen, I don't think he's been a huge miss. He's been very poor this season. Bit off the pace, but down to Steve Bruce's tactics. Jamal Lascelles, fatigue. He could be back in the side, but we'll wait and see on that. Ryan Fraser is now suspended after he picked up 2 daft yellow cards against Sheffield United, and he'll be out for the Arsenal game on Monday at least. As for Arsenal, well, they only have 1 player out, and that is Martinelli after he pulled up in the warm-up in the FA Cup game before they took on us. He will be out for the foreseeable. Now we're going to look at the formations for both Newcastle and Arsenal, how both Steve Bruce and Mikel Arteta will set up. So Steve Bruce has been going with the 5-4-1 formation, the wing-back system, which I say in every video I absolutely despise. It doesn't work. The players are not confident on and off the ball, and we give the ball away far too cheaply. We're too defensive, and Steve Bruce now knows that he should never play 5 at the back ever again. He has to change the formation to something more positive, like a 4-4-2, like a 4-2-3-1, because for me, that works. It gets the players further up the field, and when Newcastle are further up the field, we actually defend better. And then when the ball is in the final third, we tend to work the goalkeeper. With 5 at the back, that doesn't give our players any chance of, getting anything in terms of a result. We'll just end up losing games because Callum Wilson, who we're over-reliant on 9 times out of 10, he doesn't get any service. And without any service, he can't score any goals. So, it's the basics. And Steve Bruce has got to have looked at that Sheffield United result now. And if he's going to rectify the mess that he's caused, he's got to change it. It's as simple as that. I'm not a manager. If I'm in his shoes, you've got to change it. You really do. You've got to go out with a better attitude. It doesn't matter if it's Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea now. I'd rather Newcastle go 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 and have a go. I don't mind if we get beat, as long as we have a go. As to say, in Newcastle, we don't demand a team that wins. We demand a team that tries, and we've not seen that for months. As for Arsenal, they play the 4-2-3-1 formation. I love that formation. Many Newcastle fans are crying out for that because when Steve Bruce used it, we actually won a lot of games. We looked comfortable on the ball. The players knew what they were doing. But for Arsenal, hey, if it works, that's what they're going to go with. And they've got players that can use that formation. So in terms of the formation battle, well, Arsenal will obviously win that battle with the quality. If Steve Bruce goes 5 at the back, 4-2-3-1 will win. And not only that, as mentioned, Arsenal have got the upturning class to turn Newcastle United over. Now, in terms of players to watch out for both Newcastle and Arsenal, starting off with Newcastle. First up, Callum Wilson. He's got 8 goals this season. Without his goals, we wouldn't be where we are right now, which is 15th in the league. That is a false position. We'd be in the bottom 3. And I would also mention Carl Darlow in there. But Callum Wilson, listen, we know that he's a Premier League striker. He deserves to be in the England squad, but bless him, he's not going to get in there anytime soon the way Newcastle are playing. He's the go-to guy for goals. He's very, very clinical in terms of if you give him some service, he will put the ball in the net 9 times out of 10. So in terms of what he brings, well, he's a bit of a fox in the box, isn't he? So from set pieces, so that could be corners, free kicks, he's always on the alert to finish those off. But with Callum Wilson, he's going to be the threat, so you're going to have to watch out for him in terms of your defence, Arsenal. Almiron, if he's back in the side, if he's played in that number 10 role, then he could easily be a real threat on the evening. But he has to be, looking forward rather than back. When you see Newcastle are just playing 5 at the back and defending for most of the game, the ball needs to be at his feet. He'll drive at the defence and he will be a busy man if he gets the ball, but that's a big if. Matty Longstaff, this lad needs to be back in the side on Monday. And he's a young lad, he's got a lot of energy, great midfielder, one for the future of a bigger club with ambition, could definitely get in the England side. And he's just a workaholic, he'll get back, he'll put the tackles in, and he'll drive forward, but the service needs to be correct. Looking at the Arsenal players to watch out for, so first up, Lacazette, a very good player, got 9 goals for Arsenal this season. As mentioned in a previous preview a couple of weeks ago, he's not got the best of pace, but he's very like Matty Longstaff, a workaholic. He'll put himself around the box, and he's great from set pieces, so headers, and just if you give him some service around the box, he's going to fire one in for Arsenal. And with the 9 goals, that doesn't lie. He is a clinical player. Smith Rowe, I beg to differ whether he should have been on the pitch or not. But listen, that game's gone now. A very good player for Arsenal, a young lad. He scored past us in the FA Cup. The first goal, which ultimately killed off the game in extra time. Listen, the lad's got a big future at Arsenal. He brings a lot of pace to their side, and he's got a couple of goals, one coming against Newcastle, and he'll be looking for another one on Monday night. He's been getting a good run in the side, and long may that continue for this lad, and who knows that he could be getting an international call-up very, very soon. Aubameyang, we all know about him. I would say the best player out at Arsenal by a country mile. 6 goals for them, and he'll be a real threat. He did score past us in the FA Cup. When does Aubameyang never score past Newcastle? And he'll be doing the same again. He'll be looking for goals. He'll be putting himself around the box, and he'll be sniffing any defensive mistake by Newcastle. So whichever way Steve Bruce goes about the game, he's going to have to get it right. And even if we do go 4 at the back, there's no doubt that we can keep Aubameyang quiet. Saka, the young lad as well, who can play in different roles in terms of up front. He can play behind the striker. He's got 3 goals and he's got pace, very like Smith Rowe. He'll tend to get the ball down and play, and he's very good at working, with his teammates, and he'll try and make things happen as well. He scores very good goals, and not only that, headed goals and whatnot. So it's going to be a difficult night with those 4 players. No doubt they've got other players as well, such as Xhaka, who hit the crossbar in the FA Cup. So plenty of, talent in the Arsenal side, and you just wonder why they're so low down in the table. I just think it's down to a lack of confidence more than anything, rather than Arteta. That is just my personal opinion. My starting 11 for the game, I'm going to go for a 4-4-2 formation, and no matter what I pick, I don't think we're going to get the result. So in goal, Cardalo. The back four, so I'm going to go with Paul Dummett. As long as he's fit and ready to go, then I'll play him at left back. At right back, I'm going to go with DeAndre Yedlin. I hope we can bring in Mankiw, but I don't know what's going on with him at this moment in time. Yedlin needs to pick it up because he was awful against Sheffield United, but before that he was not too bad. You get a couple of games from Yedlin and then he's just poor, but hopefully you can turn things around. Fernandes and Kieran Clark would finish off the defence, so they'd be my main two. Then on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Matt Ritchie. On the right-hand side, I'm going to bring in Jacob Murphy for a chance because we know that what he can bring to the side, a bit of pace. We need pace in this side, and we need to bring that against Arsenal on Monday night. In terms of the two midfielders, I'm going to bring in Matty Longstaff. Steve Bruce has to play this lad. I just don't understand what he sees in Jeff Hendrick or Sean Longstaff. As mentioned with Matty, he brings so much energy into the side. Isaac Hayden, for me, he's undroppable. The first name on the team sheet, in my opinion, to start this game. So he'd be partnering alongside Matty Longstaff in a 4-4-2. And then the two up front are going to be Dwight Gale and Callum Wilson, the two paciest strikers that we've got. The two go-to strikers for goals that can get you something. Dwight Gale has got to start this game, in my opinion. I've said Andy Carroll in the past. Carroll may need a rest. He could come on second half, but Dwight Gale, he needs a run out now. He really does. And when we're lacking pace, there's Dwight Gale. You've got Callum Wilson as well, who can offer a bit of pace as well. And you want goals. We need goals. That's the most important thing. So, that would be my starting 11. So I'll just repeat it. So Carl Darlow, Paul Dummett, DeAndre Yedlin, Federico Fernandez, Kieran Clark. That's the defence. The midfield will be Matt Ritchie, Jacob Murphy, Isaac Hayden and Matty Longstaff, and the two up front are Dwight Gale and Callum Wilson. But let me know your starting 11s down below in the comment section. My score prediction, I will say 2-0 to Arsenal. I can't see past an Arsenal win, in my opinion. Just, it's the way we're playing right now. It's the way we're playing. And you just wonder where the next win's coming from. We're defensively, we're solid at times, but we make basic mistakes. But because we're not really looking like attacking sides, a side like Arsenal with their quality will just pick what off. Yes, okay, you look back at the 0-0 draw in 90 minutes, but that's 90 minutes in an FA Cup tie. Anything can happen in extra time. Arsenal didn't really play a lot of their better players, but they will do on Monday. And I've just got down as a few key points. I don't want to see 5 at the back ever again. That's not necessarily going to change the scoreline because I'm not unrealistic that way. We are playing Arsenal. And I want the players to be further up the field rather than just, standing around and defending all game. Yes, it's Arsenal. We shouldn't underestimate them, but they are poor. And they are. It's a matter of fact. Steve Bruce, right, he needs to watch the second half of the Arsenal game in the FA Cup and take some sort of pride from that the lads can, go out and put out a performance. And we nearly did with Andy Carroll coming so close on a number of occasions. And I just think if Crystal Palace can go down to Arsenal and get a 0-0 result, and they could have actually won the game looking at the highlights, then so can Newcastle, and they've proved it, in that FA Cup game. But listen, I'm not naive to think, that we're going to walk all over Arsenal, because I don't think that we're going to have enough about it to get the result. I could be wrong. I want to come back on Monday and be positive. And that is now the conclusion of Monday night's game and what I expect will happen. But nothing is going to change my mind on the scoreline. I don't want to sound negative, but I'm a realist. I've seen recent results and I just don't see anything changing anytime soon. But listen, I don't want Steve Bruce anywhere near this football club anymore. I want him to just move on and bring in a new manager. And if we lose these next 4 games, for me, he's got to the end of the month. It's as simple as that. If that's what the board are thinking, then do it before it's too late. I wouldn't give him any more games. But I will be back with the match review on Monday night just after 10 o'clock. So make sure that you watch. And I'm sorry that it's gone on a little bit long than normal, but I had to talk about the Sheffield United game. If you haven't watched any of the live streams, I do a TOON TV Friday Night Live. So make sure that you go and press on the box at the end of this video to watch that. We'll talk to John Sinclair. We'll talk to many Newcastle fans who wanted to share their opinions on recent matters. We do have another live stream from the Steve Bruce Out Brigade as well, which I'm part of. And if you want to watch that, please do give that a watch too. So just to conclude, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I want to try and get to 3,600, and hit the like button, put your comments down below, turn on the notification bell, and in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, keep it tuned, and how are the lads?